walk, that's ours.
Yeah, but you know what? The woman from the honor flight is gonna be
Yeah,
there.
propane.
I'm not talking
I know,
about
I
that,
know,
I'm just
I know.
saying, you can't mix up the honor
No.
flight and the 5K walk, they're
Right.
two different things.
Right,
Well,
well, they did the 5K
Thank you,
walk
sir.
last year,
With a lot of trouble,
I know.
and they
No.
shouldn't be involved with
and
that.
John, and did not John not on tape yet, I can tell. John Cusack,
Yes,
did he
John.
not come to you and say he was in charge of the 5K walk?
What?
Are you
No,
doing
he's
it?
not, you are.
No, he volunteered for the other one.
You're in charge of the
Honor
5K walk,
Honor
John.
He wants to do the honor flight.
Yeah,
Well, as you see, there is some controversy,
I think we should straighten it
and
out.
it needs to be resolved. Who next? Who next is gonna step up to manage village affairs? Who, Seacrest? You know, it's out of the question.
I don't understand how, let's take one, they're separate entities, so to
Right.
start off with.
Mhm.
Let's start with the honor flight. The honor flight was started with Joy, am I correct?
No.
Who started the honor
Mill
flight?
Cohen started the
Oh,
honor.
Mill Cone, I'm sorry.
Right,
And then you got involved with
yeah, because he
afterwards.
died.
And that was right, the first year. And the first year, as far as I know, we donated $5,000.
Yuko did,
Right.
Yuko did.
After that, I don't know if
We did,
every year after we did?
yeah.
Okay, cause I asked Ed to check it, because I don't see why we should be donating people's
Somebody made a
money.
motion, that's why.
Mhm.
And I bet you, if I ask Ron if that's a valid common expense, he'll say no.
Of course not, it can't be a common expense.
Exactly.
Now, if you get donations, I mean, I made $100 donation to the honor flight.
Mhm.
I don't mind, and if anybody at this table wants to donate to them, that's up to them. We should not be using residents' money. Now, let's put that aside, and then we can talk about it. 5K walk was started by Vinnie Lee.
Right.
He came here, got permission from you, David, it was a UCO-sponsored walk. Some way or another, I don't wanna go into it, it got screwed up last year,
Yep.
okay? And CSI, they had no insurance, Tony had to get the insurance. 5K walk, I went to Rhoda. Rhoda told me that John was in charge of the 5K walk. How do you not know that if your name is on the list?
I told Joy, can I speak at this meeting?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Okay, I
You
told Joy,
can, but please keep in mind you're on camera.
yeah,
I told Joy that, we do that concert every year for the honor. I said, what's his name came over to the house, Vinnie Lee, gave me all the paperwork and said, hey, I'm out of the 5K walk for the honor flight now. He said, would you take it over? And I said, so I came and talked to Joy, and Joy said, yeah, we need somebody to do 5K. I said, well, I'll coordinate the 5K for the honor flight,
now the 5K has nothing to do with the honor flight.
But the money was going, Barbara, you're wrong, the money was going
All
to
right.
the honor flight.
I'm not talking-
Up until, wait a minute, let me say something.
Uh-huh.
The money was going to the honor flight every year up until last year. Nobody said.
No, it was going
No.
to the VA.
First
Just
year
the
with the
opposite.
Oh,
First year was the
okay,
VA,
alright, okay, the VA.
And last year, not last year, the year before,
Right,
2 years ago, when
The
Vinnie ran
pergola.
it,
right.
then he turned around and said, cause you had asked him, could we give the money to the honor flight? And he said yes,
Mhm, right.
okay? Last year, CSI ran it and they did it, gave the money to the honor flight.
Not all of it, they took part of it for themselves. so
All
they
right,
all
let's
financed it.
hold
Right,
that for, that's another topic.
Right,
They gave part of it,
Right.
okay? The 5K walk was first originated to go to the Veterans Administration Building,
Right.
hospital down here.
right.
A
That's
majority of our veterans, a majority, and I can get you a lot of names, they use that hospital over
We
there.
all know that, Barbara. We don't.
But
need-
no, but
we
I
don't-
wanna
No,
explain
no,
why
no,
I'm gonna
wait a minute.
say.
Let me say something. It was done that way because Maureen, what's her name, Sullivan, or not,
Yes, that's right.
she was on the committee. All of those people worked together at the VA.
Yes,
That's
I
why
know.
they wanted the money to go to the VA. So they did, they donated it and it went to the pergola. I went,
And also a TV the year before.
right, I went
I
to
think
get
a couple of computers.
Right,
That was done,
Right.
and they might have worked for it, but
Right.
they did it because a lot of people in here do go to the vets.
Well,
a very large
You know what?
majority.
Last year, what happened was that we couldn't get anybody from the village that wanted to chair the 5K run. So Vinnie Lee went to this
Which
lady
was
from
wrong.
CSI and made the deal
Exactly.
with her to run the 5K. She came in to me, she was very rude and very nasty, and I asked her to get out of my office, frankly. So then she went over to Eva, and Eva called me and said, would you come up and maybe we can resolve this thing? In the meantime, nobody from the village came forward to do it. I didn't wanna see the 5K run not being done. So Eva said, would you agree that if she does it, that half the money will go to the honor flight? I said, yes, because I wanna keep the walk going, otherwise there was gonna be no walk at all. That's how it all came about. The 5K run, somebody wants to do it, and then I think the committee for the 5K run has to determine where the money's gonna go.
Well, I remember having a talk, you were in David's office when we mentioned about the 5K walk, John.
Right, I was there.
And we said that, to be fair,
But-
since it originally started for the Veterans Affairs, that 1 year should go to the Veterans Hospital and 1 year to the honor flight, to be fair about it.
That's just.
But if you wanna,
Just a 5K run, right?
yeah, the 5K run, that's all I'm talking
Okay,
about.
Okay,
And I think that's a fair thing to
Sure.
do.
sure.
But I wanna get back to the money that this body here has given the honor flight.
Mhm.
We have no right to send our money to an organization, I'm for the vets, my husband's a disabled vet, to the veterans, because it's not a common expense.
That was brought up at the,
Yes,
I know I'm not part of this, so.
You have to raise your hand, that's all.
That was brought up at the General Assembly. It
Right,
was presented to
yes.
the people at the General Assembly,
Not
and they overwhelmingly voted to do it.
understood, but that doesn't mean
Every year,
it's a valid expense.
I understand that.
You know, we're not sent here to, pardon my French, piss away
Money.
the unit owner's money. And, you know, you can get up and you can excite a mob to do almost anything. What's that statement about a good district attorney could get a grand jury to indict a ham sandwich? I'm willing to send it to Rod, but I guarantee you it's gonna come back not a valid common expense.
Well,
first of all, the first year, we all agreed to give the 5,000, and so did delegate assembly, you're right, John.
Mhm.
But after that, nothing was agreed. It was just done automatically and never should have been done without
Well, it
someone
was
saying.
approved by the officers here, it wasn't done automatically.
Well,
It
the
was approved
officers
by
had
the
no
officers.
right to do
All right,
it.
whether it was right or wrong, what is the point, that you don't want the money to be collected
I don't think
from the income?
residents' money
That's
should go to
fine.
any organization,
All right, you
not
know-
just that,
You
any.
know what, I have to tell you something, I've been the chair of the honor flight since, Milt passed away.
Right,
All right, I asked, as you know, at the last meeting, that somebody else come forward to take over because I can't do all these things anymore. And we've had one volunteer, actually two, but the one person only wants to be on the committee. The other person has volunteered to take over the honor flight. I haven't gotten an approval yet from David, we talked about it. But my point is that I
Who's-
wanna get some fundraising started before the end of the year and get some of these applications out to the vets that wanna go on the honor flight. And
Let me make a point.
yes,
Anyone can give to the honor flight.
sure,
I have given to the honor
Sure,
flight regularly, that's an individual decision.
right,
Southeast Florida Honor Flight LLC has, pardon my French, more money than God,
Mhm.
through all sorts of high-level sponsorships. It's nice,
Mhm.
but we are under no obligation to pay for our people that go, they'll be paid for. There's a huge fund for that, and I think it should stay on that basis.
Right.
I also have a concern as to why this vendor sitting in the medical building is putting its snout into village business. Alright?
Mhm.
And the first salvo will be, I will ask our CAM to talk to their CAM, and then I shall write a letter with the assistance of Rod Tennyson, that they have to keep out, and I'll try to quote appropriate chunks of our roadway agreement, which very few people actually read. I cannot believe those people. And to take a rake off the
that's
top
not
is egregious, right?
And that's the part, David, that I'm trying to get to protect all residents. I give $100 to the vets, I give $100 to the honor flight, and I give other money to cancer. But organizations run their own fundraisers, okay? And that's fine if they wanna run it. I don't care if everybody in this room ran something for whatever they believe in. But we shouldn't be using the people's money.
Well, it
And
might-
then to find out that CSI got part of my money has me furious.
John,
Yeah.
are you still on board to
Yeah,
chair
find out.
the run?
Yeah, I'll do the run, I have no problem, it's just, don't get me wrong when I say that, and I use the VA, yeah. I have a problem with the money going there because they have more money than God to start with, but you know.
All right, I understand that Veterans Administration, yes, it's another,
Black hole.
tax funded,
Bloodsucker.
money,
But yeah, I
money
have
sink.
I have no problem doing it, you
Yeah.
know, as long as I get help to do it.
I think people like it. I think it's a good event for us, and I'd like to continue to do it.
Okay.
But we're under no obligation. Whoever takes over the honor flight will be in the fundraising business on a individual
Yeah, with their,
charitable donation
That's right, I
basis.
agree.
with their committee, with the
Right.
committee
Yes.
that runs it. And that's the way it
And
should
they
be.
could pass a hat around the delegate assembly and ask for contributions.
Wherever,
Yeah.
right?
Everybody wants to put
We
their
had
money
a,
where
we
their
had
mouth
a,
is
what
can.
we did, we had a coffee and cake after the meeting, and, we had the film, you know, of what it is, the honor flight, I had the
Oh, yeah, you had
application.
the people in.
Right, and I,
Yeah.
yeah, and I would do that, you know, I would help whoever takes it over, I said I would stay on the committee, in fact, I got another person, another resident that said that they would stay on the committee. And I have to tell you that when I went, and I've gone every year when the veterans come back from the flight, and I have to tell you that the emotion and the how grateful they are that they went, that this is probably one of the best experiences of their life. Because for some of them, it was closure, when they go to Arlington, they go to see, then now they have the World War II Memorial, all of these things, you know, so that's why I felt that I didn't mind doing it, but I just can't anymore, but, like I said, I have a volunteer, I have another person, I have actually two people that have volunteered to come on to the committee. So, whatever you decide, John, with the 5K, we can help you with that too, I'm sure our committee will help with that as well, you know, okay? We'll work together.
Take all the help you can get.
Right.
Go ahead, John.
The bottom line is the CSI stuff
Mhm.
and all these charity
Mhm.
events that happen in the clubhouse
Mhm.
with,
And
we've
all that-
talked about this before.
Yeah,
All these people, you know, and it ends up, I get 99 cents, the charity gets 1 penny.
Mhm.
Until UCO and WPRF get on the same page,
Mhm.
where there's no charity events unless it's approved by UCO, then, you know, you're gonna have this crap all the time.
okay. Barbara,
I don't think that's quite the question, John, and I'll tell you why. The Italian club, the Irish club, the German club, whatever club you wanna say, I don't care. They can do fundraisers.
I do fundraisers.
And they do them, I know, because I give to them, but the point is, anyone outside of a club that wants to raise money, if I wanna come in and say, oh, I wanna raise money for cancer for kids, and they're gonna get 100% of it. That doesn't mean that Eva can allow them in our clubhouse.
That's what I'm talking about.
Well, that's what you gotta get across,
Yeah, it's just
John.
the clubs are all right, like the Act Two and the Italian club.
That's
and
what I'm talking about.
They have bona fide things, they show it, you know,
Yeah.
but, like, we do one every year, and we give 100%, you know?
Well, all monies that were collected for the honor flight, that we, the associations gave money, everything was done through our treasurer's office. There's nothing ever done in cash, it all comes in
But
checks.
that's not what we're talking
And
about.
I know, I understand that, but I'm just saying that this is the setup, that the way it's done, so.
What we're talking about now is, how does somebody that has an office in the medical center have the right to tell you, Eve Rachevsky,
exactly.
set up the
Right.
the place we're gonna have a meal,
Yeah, not
and
at
then you
all.
have your people clean it up, and they're not paying 1 damn cent to any of the work we're paying her to do.
And they're getting part of the money. That's outrageous.
Well, I fought it last year, I fought it vigorously.
Well, we have to make
And
it clear.
nobody would come forward to do the 5K run.
It's- it's-
That's why she did it.
Then
Rather
you
than
don't
let it
do
go
it.
down the drain altogether, it was, they,
No.
you know, we made a deal that she would do it because, and give half the money to us.
Vinnie Lee, and I don't know the background, developed some kind of weed
Mhm.
in his ear and went over there and
Right,
and pulled
exactly,
them in.
exactly. And when he came in to me and told me, I had a fit in the office with him, and then the girl came in, and I actually told her to leave my office because I was so angry. I said to Vinnie, you had no right to commit Yuko or any resident in this village to her doing that. I said it was not your business to do it, and he knew that,
Right.
you know, so.
Can I just say one more thing, David? I think that Eva has to be told about how we feel as officers, having CSI, which according to your paper, is gonna be at the clubhouse. Because let me tell you, when I donate money, I don't donate to anybody on the phone, because I say to them, say John calls me, wants money for the police. I say, are you an agent? They said, yes, we're a fundraiser. I said, and what percentage do they get? And they're right away, now they have to tell you, like 10%. When I gave money, I did not know that CSI was getting a dime, and that was really defrauding the people. I'm sorry,
Well, don't
I don't mean it towards you,
I
but,
know, don't mix up the two. What if you gave money to the honor flight, it didn't go anywhere near the 5K run? That was.
no, I'm
completely
not
separate.
talking
Okay, all
about
right, I
that.
just wanna make that clear.
CSI got their hands in the
No,
money.
I just wanna make that clear. Eva's on the committee for the honor flight, and she's been very helpful to me with it, because she did it before
Well,
down
then
in
you
her
better
other,
tell her
in the
about
other village.
CSI.
Mhm.
Well, we ought to contact the same people
Right,
who came in.
right, I will. Oh, it'd be my pleasure to contact her.
John,
The only thing I wanna say is two things, is it's nothing to do with the honor flight or the 5K or anything else, it's this charity stuff. You know, it's not only CSI, we got people who runs charities out of their own house that are doing things and collecting money and
in the
nobody
clubhouse.
in the clubhouse advertising it, putting up tables and stuff like that. Sometimes it might behold somebody from UCO to go talk to somebody besides Eva about this.
I don't think that's a good
Well,
idea.
I do.
I got you.
I've
Because,
dropped a dime more than once.
well, that might be because you know Mr. Lee, but I think that out of respect,
No, I
it's
don't-
David or somebody here to
Right.
go and speak to
I
her.
agree, I don't think that,
All right, we're
whatever,
seriously
all right, I'll follow.
short
through.
on actually looking at the
Oh,
officers
okay.
committee agenda.
Okay, I'll get
Did
my
you have
little
something?
committee together.
I just read this quickly. It actually says it's Vetus is the sponsor.
Well, isn't that
Vetus
CSI?
and Southeast
They're
Florida
separate?
Honor
And it
Flight.
says that.
Well, whoever it is, I
And
don't care.
CSI is on there too.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
It is
down
Yeah.
further, but
But here it says
Well, they work
Vetus.
Yeah,
together.
Vitas is the name on the
Not to
Right.
drag it out any longer.
No,
on
right,
No, but it has to be
Door.
settled.
right,
there's a company up
right.
there. I would think they're almost one and the
Who
same.
sends the
Yes, they are.
calendar
They
out
are.
every month?
They are.
The calendar that comes out every month.
It says Vitas and CSI.
It says
Yeah.
both of them.
Right.
And they're in the medical building.
Yes.
So if they wanna do something, do it in your building, not our building.
Exactly.
All right,
Unless they wanna pay $100
makes
grand to
sense.
use it.
Thank you.
they
We'll take that.
they will not miss a single opportunity
Right.
to make
Mm-hmm.
some money.
Well, I will say in closing on this whole thing, I did fight it vigorously last year for them to do the 5K. And rather than, the walk rather, and rather than see it go down the drain altogether, I did agree to have it half and half, but I certainly did not agree to do it any further than last year, because I thought I would get somebody a volunteer. So of course I asked Sean.
All right, let's have a look at the minutes. Everybody, take a look at the minutes. We actually do have some work to do here today. Have a look.
Sorry about that.
Die.
Every day at about 10:15, I get a call, it's a scam.
Never answer it,
Oh, yeah.
but they keep on doing it.
Yeah.
Get a block, call block on it.
All right, any problems with the minutes,
No.
David?
I don't believe that Peyton MacArthur purchased a condo here.
He did not. He, in anticipation of his candidacy, he occupied, Paulette Burdick's unit.
Agreed to, whether we ever moved in or not is irrelevant.
Yeah, and of course, for some arcane reason, his candidacy was kiboshed.
Oh, I didn't know
The
that.
arcane reason was he had to retire from the current position,
Yeah.
10 days ahead of.
You missed
one.
one. That's interesting.
Now, my only thought is, what difference does it make when you retire? You know, you've overlooked it, okay, I retire. You know, what difference does it make, but they don't allow that, you have to retire before.
Right.
You can't have your cake and eat it, that's how they look at it.
Yeah.
You can't stay where you are and
Okay,
still go for something else.
So, John, what did you hear? This is what this is gonna come down to.
Well, what I, at this meeting, when this was written, it was reported that he had purchased the place. Then later on, at the executive board meeting, then he come in and said, no, he didn't. So at the time this was written, that was
That was
what
true.
was going on.
That's
But what
tricky.
transpired after that,
Right.
I can't come back and
I
correct
got
it.
you, I got you. I
You know.
thought of that when I read it.
I can, I appreciate the fact that it's incorrect information, but that was the information we had at that time.
I never heard him say he purchased the place there.
I did.
I heard him say he was
I
going to
did.
be
I
moving
remember
in,
him
but
saying
not
it.
purchased.
Yeah,
Yeah, I remember him
Difference
saying
between,
it.
difference between
All right,
purchasing.
well,
and
so in today's minutes, you can now state that this was not the case,
Yeah.
blah, blah, blah. Okay, any other problems with the minutes?
Who'd accept?
And minutes will be accepted. I don't know how you'd state it, with an exception to be noted in the current minutes, or something like that.
we'll get.
Sounds good.
Accepted as discussed.
Well, what does the president have to say? How many of you attended the little thing yesterday?
Oh, you moved it.
Yeah, I thought it's a classical modern advertising thing, the meetup, and I thought it was kinda neat. Although I know with some chagrin that I don't think any information was transmitted at all.
No.
You know?
Just what was flashing on the TV.
Yeah, the kids did the electric slide and the food was acceptable, the food was good, Panera's. But I think the real information is yet to come.
August 3rd.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the great town hall meeting. And the meeting set up for the associations. I think they know what they're doing. You're gonna have to let this roll out.
I think that the two things, that it was very beneficial for the reporter, because we met a lot of people that we've been dealing with strictly by computer. Got to see the person that we're dealing with, and also, I think it was kind of nice that it was the officers and delegates from the meeting, from the buildings, because very rarely do they really have anything. And this was one event that was designated just for them. And I think that a lot of officers felt that way when they were leaving there, because they work all year on their buildings, and unless their building is generous, or, saying thank you or something, they don't get it. So this was kind of a nice way of them being recognized. And besides, Stu and I won something, so we're okay with it.
Of particular interest was the appearance of Mr. Shea.
Yes.
Mr. Shea is probably, for lack of a better term, the number one guy
Yeah.
in CONUS. He's essentially CEO of Atlantic Broadband, not of Cogeco. There's a difference. And Shea is headquartered in Quincy. And I took the opportunity to give him and Reagan an earful about Mr. Roberts, who despite the good old boy approach, I have lost total confidence in him. Total. I think he is irretrievably lost. He's totally schedule driven and I don't think he cares how much damage he does, and I told these people that. All right? I mean, it's gotta stop. And I talked to Marcel about this Leo comment about chump change. No, it's not chump change. There's a lot of people in here on fixed income. This is inexcusable expenditure. When does it not become chump change? At $250,000? Because if this guy is not brought to heel, he will assume that he can keep bullying ahead and break everything and not pay for anything. All right, so we had a nice chat with Mr. Shea, and I hope eventually, and there'll be follow-up, we'll have to follow up, and this will bear fruit. Yeah.
I was there later, I left, but then I had to take care of something, was back to talk to Marcel. And also, when we were talking to Reagan and Elizabeth, who was in charge of everything for the state of Florida, they said they would set up a meeting. And when you told Reagan $23,000, I thought his pants were gonna fall, because he couldn't, he said, what? He only knows of about, he thought 3,000, do you recall the conversation? He had no idea. Now, I
2 months ago.
can't blame AB. How can you blame AB when they weren't invoiced? I'm sorry.
Okay, well, I'll go for
Bottom
that.
line.
And by the way, why are we holding that up?
I'm holding it up.
No.
It'll be ready today.
Yeah, you have a cutoff date,
Yeah.
and you just keep the abacus running.
Really wanted to get that
Right.
10 grand bill in.
And we should invoice him every single month until it's paid.
A monthly damage invoice,
Right.
even if he,
I
even if
agree
he,
with 100%.
me too.
You can't have this just chatter in the air.
Yeah.
So yes, we will invoice them, good.
I like part, maybe, I think a little bit, if it were me, I wouldn't wait till the end of the month. Every time we get a bill, he gets an invoice.
We can do that.
Fine.
That makes a
I think
lot
they-
more sense.
I think daily would be better,
Well, that's
then
what I
they can
said,
say,
John, every
hey,
time we get
he
an
broke it,
invoice.
he broke it, he broke it,
He
instead of just one.
He just
That's
said
what
the
daily
same
is.
thing.
Yeah,
I said, when we get an
Yeah.
invoice, he gets an invoice.
right.
That's fine.
We can do job to job.
I mean, remember who does the invoicing?
Exactly.
You don't want to break standard procedure too much because you're gonna confuse that girl. All right, you don't wanna do that.
So what do you like, weekly, monthly,
Well,
daily?
however we invoice now, I mean, we don't do that much invoicing,
Ask
someone
it,
breaks a
how
gate
do you
on, we do an
invoice?
invoice. And that's pretty much as it occurs.
It hasn't been up till now,
Oh,
but it's
okay.
gonna start that way. Because he's coming up with the damage they've done to explain how the numbers got to be what they are. At the same time, that's happening, our illustrious candidate behind the gentleman I'm pointing at is gonna send a bill saying, this is what you owe for
Oh,
insurance.
Tony is?
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah,
So while she's billing for insurance and we're billing for the damages and we're billing for the rent, right now we do have September's or July, September's rent, I guess it is.
Yeah, no,
August
good,
rent.
we're current.
I just wanna make it clear, you will be billing AB for their damages to us.
No, she'll be
Wait,
billing for the insurance attached to our bill for the damages.
Yes,
So all
but
we're
who
billing
is
for-
going to send out the actual invoice?
if I might please, have you thought, I'm sorry.
Yes,
I was recognized?
go.
Yes.
Okay. Why don't you get all of your Atlantic broadband bills together? Get a bill.
We got it, they're good to go.
Put it, don't forget, you're gonna have a job number on it, you're gonna have you have one person at ABU that you talk to. You email it to that person once a month and expect to get paid at the end of, within a certain amount of time. No, you don't give a company like that bills, do. And besides, it's
No, that's not
impossible to keep up with.
If you give them a bill every time they create damage, somebody's gonna sit up and take notice
Yeah.
about this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And since
Yeah.
they're not doing it on the table here, seems to me that's what we should be doing till they correct us.
Right.
And how about,
When somebody finishes a job for us, don't we get a bill after they're
Sure.
completed?
hold
And
on.
the first thing you're gonna do
Thank
is complain about having too many bills.
Oh,
And we
then.
had, I thought we
I
paid
don't
that
care
way.
about that.
It's gonna be in an
Well,
impossible
then maybe they can
situation for
find
us to keep control of. And we can't ask Jessica to do this, because this is not, you know,
Who's gonna
Um,
do it?
I can do it, it's no
Wait a
big.
You're
minute.
gonna
Why?
invoice them. I
No,
just wanna.
I
No,
want
no.
the invoices, and I want one person to get, once I get all the invoices together,
All
I
right,
put
guys,
everything and
guys.
send it once a month to.
Folks, this isn't even a matter of
Okay.
question. The invoices come out of finance,
Right.
that's all. And we want them
That's what I'm
to
saying.
pay for
I don't
insurance,
understand.
just like they did at CV Realty. We have to set it up, insurance, power, water, whatever. Any licensing,
Right.
you know, all operational costs. That's the favorite comment of WPRF. They love that one. All operational costs.
I hate to say this, David, and I understand what you're saying, okay? It comes out of finance, and you're right. But I want an answer here that is defined, because I'm hearing invoice, and Ed said you're gonna do the invoices. What I'm saying is the invoices
invoices
should
come
come
out of Ed.
from the treasurer.
Of course.
Of course.
But I don't think this is understood, and I think you're gonna have a problem.
And
That's all I'm
they
telling
should be able to handle, subject to our oversight. Didn't CB Realty do it, their own insurance?
No, they
went-
had their own insurance, but it was really great, because I didn't even realize that we owned CB Realty until about 2 or 3 years ago. At which time I found out, you'll be all happy to know, that for years
They
they
were not
had
insured.
no insurance.
Thank goodness nothing happened.
None, absolutely none.
Well,
And in addition to that, instead of having our very own insurance inspectors go out there and take a look, so when it turned into the moldy horror it did, you trust these people to do this?
okay,
So from now on, I'll take
You set it up.
American Atlantic Broadband's money, and I'll make sure they pay.
alright.
It's my understanding, Donald, that the companies that are doing the work, that are doing the cable,
The
are
subcontractors.
subcontractors, that's right, because we know, we have a source that knows this whole procedure. And this person has told me that they don't work even by the hour, this company, that they work by the amount of work that they do. So this is why there is so much damage too, because they're being driven by their money to get as much done and get as much money from this job as they can. So
I don't care about any
So
of that.
I know, but my point is that when we build Atlantic Broadband, then they
Always
have to
Atlantic
go to
Broadband.
them,
We
right?
don't deal directly with their subcontractors. And
Right.
by the way, Charlie
Okay.
mentioned that yesterday.
Okay,
Maybe you'll send the bill directly. No, I
Yeah.
won't.
no, well, that's
They're
my,
going to you, my
that was
friend.
my point, so we don't deal, so we're dealing only
We have
with
no
Atlantic
relationship with
Broadband.
those subcontractors. We
Okay.
only have a relationship with our
Okay.
contractor, who is Atlantic
Okay.
Broadband. That's
Okay.
it.
Just keep good records.
Yeah.
Because eventually they're going to power up this village with content. And if that bill isn't paid, it's gonna come out of their first check.
Right. Now, I keep a running,
Claire-
excuse me, I keep a running spreadsheet of every damage.
That number is gonna get bigger
Yeah,
and bigger.
big.
Because he has not been brought to task. Now he thinks he can do anything.
I just wanna clarify one more time, cause that had stepped out of the room.
Right.
That was said here, the invoices, so Ed knows what was said here. The invoicing to AB is coming from the treasurer's
All
office.
invoicing should come out of
Okay,
finance.
just-
Already
I
made
didn't-
up.
Alright, I just wanna make sure, I didn't know if you heard
I'm
it.
just waiting for the breakdown of what the damage was on every one
Right.
of those lists, but that's not part of what the
Okay.
invoice
And I
shows.
also wanna print and attach proposals and invoices for each one of the individual damages as backup to the invoice.
Be good, that, they will want that, I guarantee, because
Yeah, I would want it, so
he
why wouldn't
doesn't
I?
think that they are doing that much damage,
Right.
Reagan. And he was shocked when he was told.
We've got spreadsheets, we've got pictures, we've got invoices.
Take the
Yeah,
picture.
when we were at the
We have a
ten, when we were at the
conversation.
I'm sorry, when we were at the $10,000 level, I presented these proposals and invoices to Reagan, cause he asked to see them.
Yeah, it's forgetful.
Yeah,
Yeah,
We
I'm
had a
sorry.
conversation where
Yeah, thank you.
Charlie basically said, we put the pipe through there, why don't we just
Leave it there.
cover it and leave it?
Unbelievable.
that was actually our contractor that suggested that, and I said no.
Can you imagine the debris
Yeah, it's a
that
hang.
that thing would collect up, flowing through, you'd block the pipe within 2 months.
Ridiculous.
All it would take is one branch to get in the storm
Right.
drain,
And we'd be
and that
paying
would catch
again.
every piece of paper, and then that's, we've had that before.
You should have kept that piece of pipe, I'd throw it in the table at the next broadband meeting.
I'd like to say that's the strangest thing I've found outside of storm drain since I've been here, but it's not. I found live electrical, power cable,
Alright, let's, oh yeah,
found a
let's,
suction line.
let's go around the table. I've chatted too long. Why don't we start with
Well,
Barbara?
that's unusual.
Oh, okay. Something came up today, actually came up, I had Joy in the office and Ruth, when AMR came in yesterday to see me, Sarah. And we were talking, I'm not even gonna go into that, what I'm gonna go into is, they have a on-running contract. So I asked David this morning if he could find an AMR contract in the database for me.
We should have it.
Because I wanna see if we can cancel at any time, like most of our contracts. But at the same time, I looked in the database, do we have a spreadsheet? And I know this was brought up before, of all the contracts that UCO handles, transportation, security, exterminating, I can go on, showing that this contract is January 17th, it's due for 2 years, due in 19. Do you know what I mean? Because we don't know when these contracts are due unless we have that spreadsheet. So how can we plan to find out? I think it's a very important thing, and I thought we might have it. I guess, I don't want to talk because Donald's not here, it's not fair. But Donald should have a list like that for himself, because he handles the contracts.
Betty and Donald don't have it, I do not believe it's in the database.
No, it's not, I
I
looked.
don't believe we've been doing that since Dorothy Tetra, and credit where credit's due.
But it's been talked about here at this table before, and I'd like to make it instituted.
Yes.
And I don't like to do this because Donald's out of the room, so he can reply, have him set up all the contracts and the dates they start and the dates they end and how long they run for. So we know that, oh gee, in 3 months, this contract is due, let's get started with it.
We did get,
Not do emergency.
we did get something from WPRF,
That's theirs.
and that is in the database on all their
Yeah,
contracts.
that's for WPRF, but
Yeah. but
why
need
shouldn't
that.
we have this, oh Donald, I'm sorry, I wanted to talk when you're here.
Yes,
We have from WPRF a spreadsheet showing when all the contracts they have,
yes.
the date they start, how long they run for, and when they're due. I said, we should have the same thing for UCO from you,
We can do that, sure.
all right? Would you do that? Thank you.
So UCO contracts,
All contracts like exterminating, transportation,
there's small
any,
ones and there's big ones.
everything, all of them,
I can do
all
that.
contracts.
I can speak that
Because
I
AMR, I couldn't find it.
We used to have it in a binder.
I
if I remember right.
definitively
Yeah.
guarantee, we have a cable contract, I know I have that.
No, but we need, that's why we need a spreadsheet to see all of them,
Like, what you basically, it's called in accounting, a schedule of, and you
contracts,
just put
right?
them, and you put them all down.
And we used to have it in a paper binder, if I remember
That's
correctly.
gone, there's
Yeah,
no,
we can do
there's
better
no-
than
That was Dorothy Tetra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
you just
she
need
wrote
it on the
her binders.
computer.
Alright, Ruth,
I can remember very far back, the AMR contract was July 1 every year. We did, or we didn't, and of course we did.
60 day out? Was it a 60-day out?
We don't know, we can't find the contract.
Okay.
It seems to me yesterday, Sarah from AMR said that it renews itself every year. That was her answer. So it may have changed along the way, but I think it was July 1.
Because it is gonna be a very important point, I think, down the line with AMR,
Yeah, okay. You have anything else for us?
that's all.
Okay, how about John?
I'm thinking,
Oh, okay.
Alright,
You can smell the smoke.
yeah, well, there's smoke, there's fire.
let me get my raincoat on.
Smoking is cooking, when it's black, it's done. No, I don't think I have it.
David,
Nothing today.
Stewart?
Yeah, I thought that the Atlantic Broadband provided lunch for at least 100 people for the next 5 days. the way I saw them carrying out their sandwiches.
Yeah, right.
So I thought that was really very nice.
Yeah, I think it was a nice little affair.
Mhm.
This is standard in the advertising game
Yeah.
today, these meetups,
Right.
right? And they almost are
Mhm.
made to appear spontaneous,
Right,
but there's a lot of planning. I think these people, at least on that side of the house, know what they're doing from just what they've published. Joy,
yes, we covered it for the paper, the paper's coming out Monday. The story is in about the party yesterday, with a brief interview with the president of the corporation. Jody has taken over the coverage of Atlantic Broadband because,
you interviewed Shay?
yes, yes. And she got, enough of his background, and she also left it open that we will be coming back to him again next month, because I'm gonna concentrate on the paper, mostly on Atlantic Broadband.
Did you just tell me he was a West Point graduate?
Yes, I think, it said service contract, now, I'm not sure whether it's West Point, it could also be the, Air Force Academy.
Yeah, sure.
But then from there, he went to Boston College and got his master's, and so, and I know he's a quiet man, he was kind of standing off, but, yeah, Jody she went up and asked him, and they went out in the hallway, and she told him it would just be a brief, interview, because we were on deadline. And she wrote it up, and it's being put in the paper right now, even as we speak, so it will be in the paper Monday. And then next month's paper, we'll go into more detail, we'll sit down with him and then Reagan's supervisor was there. So we're going to get a lot of these people involved at this point and talk to them, find out who they are, what their backgrounds are, very young, a lot of them are very young people, which is good, I think it's good anyway. So, all in all, I thought it was a nice party, and like I said, it was nice to know that the officers were being recognized for something too, so. And that's it.
That's it.
Monday, the paper's out, it's going to be delivered to the laundry room, hopefully it will be okay.
Apparently that wasn't it.
Huh? No.
No, it wasn't it?
Well, I'm sorry if I took 5 minutes, because everybody else is taking a half hour,
I
but that's
didn't,
beside the
didn't.
point,
David
you know?
didn't.
Mhm.
Eddie,
I'd like to do something in closed session after we shut this down.
okay. I think we have some business here, don't we, Donald?
We do.
Under new business?
I have one item that I neglected, and I apologize for getting into the agenda for today, and
Generator?
that's the generator. This vendor was approved by the Bids Infrastructure Committee and voted unanimously. I will now bring it to the officers for their consideration and review. Pretty simple, it's a one-page proposal for a total of, can't remember, $16,900. Second page is a map and a drawing of how it will be laid out. Generator on the back of the Haverhill guardhouse, underground tank in the front, and specs for this Briggs and Stratton generator, which we went over in detail at the infrastructure meeting. So if anyone has any questions,
You
answer
have
them
a
best I
picture?
can.
You have a picture?
Of the layout, yes.
Yeah, I saw it, and the generator seems perilously close to the building. They do produce outputs
Yes.
of an undesirable nature to the guards working inside.
Obviously, this would
Not
have
just noise.
to pass inspection by the building department.
Right, code.
I thought they were gonna require 10 feet, but whatever.
Yeah.
Only
Okay.
if it's gas fired.
And it's also on a blank wall of the building. There's no windows there to open up. There's a door.
Yeah, okay. The only other thing I would note, probably useful during non-storm related power outages. I would remind you that during an actual storm, wind gets up over about 35 miles an hour, they send those kids home. Your gates are unmanned.
And doesn't get started.
They bring the arms up and the village becomes wide open.
Right.
And I don't think that's gonna change. Just consider all the issues.
Yeah, this was an issue that Ed actually brought up, and there is there is a plan. Just turn the thing off when the kids aren't in.
Yeah, I got you.
And that's kind of what I can do here, I could just turn the machine off. What I'd like to get into is it possible to, during the actual storm, kill the building, but leave up the lights? In other words, that generator would also power the spotlights,
I got you.
that might not be a bad thing, just to keep them up for as long as possible. You know,
Yeah, I'm just asking that everybody consider strategy for
Right.
use of the generator in those locations. Barbara?
This is only one location, correct?
just one location, Haverhill
Just at the
Road.
Haverhill
Yes.
Guardhouse, and it's roughly $17,000, right?
No, there's more.
16.9.
Yeah, 16.9, yeah.
Yeah, well, that's 17, give or take a few cents. And what kind of warranty is with this, as far as labor and parts and services?
6 years
6
parts and labor.
years, it's right here.
6 years parts and labor.
Okay,
This is also the
so
company
6
that,
years parts and labor from this company?
yes,
Okay, I know that sometimes we have to have them come out and start a generator to make sure it's working
we
and
have
all
a
that.
contract for maintenance from another company every other month,
From another company,
Yes.
not this. Every other month, how much do we pay for that?
$900.
And we're gonna have to have them come out, and that will be additional for this new generator.
Yes.
Correct?
Just for some
Sure.
history, this is the company that put in our UCO generator here at the UCO building. They were originally our maintenance company. We switched to a different company because of price. They did it cheaper.
Was this the only bid we were
No,
able to get?
we had 2 bids.
Okay, and I noticed that on the third page, I think it is, down on the bottom, it says generator set ratings. We went with the Briggs and Stratton over the Fortress. Is there any reason for that?
Fortress
Fortress
isn't
is-
actually a generator model, that's a component of the Briggs and Stratton
Okay,
system.
but I mean, that part of that is that that's a 6-year warranty, and if you notice, it's a year more for parts, labor, and travel. And that can mean a big difference, because as your machine gets older, believe me.
It's generally 125 for a trip charge.
But I didn't know which one of those are we getting.
We're getting the Briggs and Stratton,
Okay, we didn't ask for the Fortress.
That's
No.
part of it.
Briggs and
No,
Stratton.
it's not part of it. You have to choose one or the other.
Well, the choice was over a Generac unit or a Briggs and Stratton unit, that's what the two bids.
Right,
different
and I
ones.
don't mean that. I understand, that's the generator. This is the generator.
Right,
This part that we're talking about, okay, the Fortress
now I'm
and the
looking at
Briggs
this,
and Stratton, you see what I'm saying, Donald? I mean, I
Yeah.
just looked at it now.
we're getting a Briggs and Stratton 20 kilowatt generator.
Yeah,
That's what
but,
we're getting, it's in the proposal.
but we don't know which, this model is gonna be the 04,
It's a 20 kilowatt.
04574.
The proposal says 20 kilowatt Briggs and Stratton generator with a 200 amp automatic transfer switch. That's what
Okay.
we're getting.
Okay,
And this picture here doesn't, this cover don't come with it.
What color?
There, shows the
Generator
picture, it says
cover.
Briggs and Stratton, and it says Fortress down at the bottom of it.
thank you.
So-
Better come in that case.
Well, then how can you say, well, we're not ordering the Fortress? It's all,
That's what I'm trying to get to, John,
that, to me,
thank
it's
you.
all the same.
Right.
This is just explaining what you get. You get your 6-year
okay.
warranty, you got 175 mile an hour wind. With this covering, it all comes together and it's for 16.9, as far as I
It's the thing we see
understand.
in the picture, that's what will be
Right,
on the back of the
right.
building. you know.
Okay,
Basically a smaller version of what you got out there. Half as big,
I would say one thing.
no, not that much.
You may consider this a quibble. This is a reasonably high-tech item.
Yeah.
And to dump this on the table for the first time during the meeting is just bad form. And we ought to get this out earlier.
Yeah,
the
my
office.
mistake, I tried to get this, was supposed to get it out to Rhoda yesterday and I just got busy.
Tony,
Are you're the tank, the underground tank is going to be near there. Is there,
It's gonna be forward of this picture, it's gonna be forward of the guardhouse, underground on the median.
forward of the.
So east of the guardhouse, in the front of the guardhouse.
East of the guardhouse.
Yeah.
and when you're coming out, when you first see it, it's gonna be
Okay.
there.
Hold on.
What?
Having lived through the installation of that
Yeah.
26 kilowatt generator, you have never seen such detailed inspections as came with that generator and that tank.
And the second tank.
Yes,
You-
This-
you go.
this was
Thank you.
incredible for obvious reasons. I don't think we have to worry about code issues. I mean, if this doesn't get past code, it won't go.
Won't go.
Okay.
Well, it has to be, and it has to be, you know, it has to be insured.
Yes, of
And,
course.
what was I gonna
Another
say?
aspect.
And they, in order to be insured, it has to be inspected once a year or something.
I know there's a lot of concern, and you can't help being concerned. When Feral Gas would bring that giant truck into Greenbrier Circle and park it in front of
I'm
my
sure that's
building,
very nerve-wracking.
it is, but if you research, this
Propane,
propane is
it's-
reasonably safe compared to other alternatives.
Gasoline.
And I remember up north in the little nothing town of Akakeet, the propane vendor had like a 20,000 gallon tank in front of his house, sitting on the front lawn. And the local denizens used to drive by and shoot at it. Well, it never exploded. Never exploded.
Needs to be underground, right?
We have learned that
Ours will
propane
be
is not,
underground, yes.
Go ahead, Ruth.
And it's not really even conceivably terribly polluting.
it isn't.
We
Propane.
had a report in here.
Yep.
Cause if you puncture that thing, that's under.
I'm
He's
more,
not flammable.
No, it won't blow up, I'm saying that it'll just gas off.
Dissipate.
I'm more concerned with the fact you've got this equipment right next to the building,
Well,
and the noise level is going to have an impact.
that's another thing.
Noise
That's
is
another-
definitely a concern. These
Big
things are loud.
concern.
Not, I don't believe it'll be as loud or at least as
It's
loud as
loud.
what we got going on now with that gas generator. Those things make a
I
racket.
would say it'd be similar to a car engine.
Same thing.
It's a bit louder than that. Ours here,
Ruth,
I'm just noticing
Thank you.
something, and I guess Donald knows the answer. The price guarantee is for 21 days, and this is dated last
November,
November.
right.
we have like last week email on this. So, no, we're good.
Oh, okay, that's the
Yeah.
answer.
Originally,
they'll give
we
it
had
to
asked,
us, they'll give it to us for this price.
On the first page, it says it's okay till 11/17.
Right.
yeah, originally we had priced out both guardhouses. And then just 2 weeks ago, I asked him to resend with just one. So he just didn't change.
Two questions, Donald. When was this given to the bid committee at the meeting?
It was.
Okay, my problem with that, and I have to bring this up, this was dated November, we knew all about this. Why isn't this given to us in enough time so we can at least check this out
It was given to you in November.
in November?
Yes, this is the
To the
second,
bid committee?
yes, this is the second time around on
But
this.
not to us, to the bid committee.
I believe it also went to the officers as well. There was an issue about
I didn't get it at the offices.
about how we're gonna treat this guardhouse.
Right,
So we were asked to put it off and now
because we didn't think this one needed it because they're on the grid.
we're thinking, well, there's that, but we're also thinking at some point we might wanna move this generator over to the Atlantic Broadband building and then power this guardhouse and this building with a larger generator.
And I just,
Close this.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that.
Go ahead.
Did you wanna say something, Ed?
No, I think we have a problem with him having to leave soon, so we actually have to go into closed session quickly.
With who?
I want this to be an officer.
Closed session, the rest of us are out.
Oh, yeah,
guys.
but wait, this thing,
Yeah,
oh, this you want closed?
no, my point is.
Oh, okay, I just wanna say one more thing about this, is that I see where it says that permits are not on this,
Did not come
fueling is not on this, survey is not on this. You need a survey. Now-
Neither is the sound evaluation, because
or
if it's
sa-
found to be as loud as it is now,
Yeah.
he has to move it away from the building.
Yeah, it wouldn't pass.
Which, well, the code will take that into
Yeah,
consideration
well,
or
the
not.
specs have like a decibel rating on it.
I know,
So
but what
that's
I'm
gonna
saying
look at the
is,
specs.
I don't live over there, but maybe some people do live over there, and I'm sure they'll be
It won't be
interested.
nearly as annoying to them as it is someone standing in the guard station that can't hear because this thing's making so much noise.
Okay,
That's
Um,
why it may not be necessary to keep it right next to the building and may have to put it back in the bushes.
is
On the
this,
other
is
side of
this
the parking
in the
lot.
budget for the guardhouse, $17,000?
I think we can find the money to pay for it.
You can find the money, okay, that's all, thank you.
Okay.
It's not budgeted though, but you have the money.
You wanna vote on this?
Sure, if you,
When is this project going to start, if it's voted on?
it would be immediately. Schedule, put it on the schedule.
So she'll be ready for the season.
I'd like to see an 8-week installation, yeah, but
Yeah.
there's no way to know.
Well, now would be the time to do
yeah.
it and get it straightened out before the season starts.
I asked this
Should've been done
question
before
for a
hurricane.
reason. Do you wanna do this now, or do you want to specifically build it into
Next
next
year's budget.
year's
I think
budget?
so,
I think it should go into next year's.
me
budget.
too.
Sure.
Me too.
Okay.
You're halfway through the season,
maybe.
this should have been done actually in around April.
Why don't we table this
You wanna make a
I'll
motion?
make a motion, table it if I have to make a motion.
for consideration in
Well,
next
yes,
year's
definitely,
budget?
Alright,
you need it, you do need it,
now closed session.
Are we all okay on that?
okay.
I have
Closed
some
session.
quick updates before I leave.
Yeah.
You have what?
I just have some quick updates before I leave the
Oh,
room
wait,
for the
wait,
officers.
Ruth.
This won't be long.
Wait, Ruth, not yet, I thought they were going to close now.
Alright, let's do it.
Let's crank through them real quick. Ed, I'll have that damage invoice for you today. I'm just gotta pull some records out. You're all gonna hear about an uptick in garbage complaints this past month. I've made a formal complaint to Waste Pro. It just, I don't know what's, I think it's summer vacation relief drivers is the problem. But you're all gonna hear this.
Unless this goes to the county commission,
That's
and
right,
unless Waste Pro knows it went to the
that's
county
the best to
commission,
do,
it has no impact.
So
go to
that's it.
Paulette right away.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get paid.
And I saw that sheet you made up.
Yeah.
You might wanna put enough on there so that Peyton or Paulette knows what you're talking about.
Every day the list grows.
And there's also a proposal before the county commission now to cut down on the service in the
That's right.
unincorporated areas.
Right.
That was in the paper last month, so that is gonna affect us also.
Say again?
There's a proposal at the county commission now to cut down on the amount of service from the Waste Pro. And all the unincorporated areas in Palm Beach County, that would be us, right? Would be part of
We
that.
are
Large-
incorporated,
large-
whether it would affect us, I don't know.
Residential isn't gonna
We
be
are an
affected.
unincorporated.
Residential's not affected
Who
for
said-
us.
Who said
It
that?
said it in an article,
Commercial,
commercial only,
yeah,
what they're
commercial.
talking.
Alright, let Donald figure it.
All
I
right.
didn't see anything
Finish
about
up
being
so
commercial.
that Ed can get to his idea.
Okay, last thing, David asked me to do a survey of all the shorelines in Century Village. I'm about done. My report is good. I see almost no damage. For the most part, the associations are playing ball and not trimming straight to the water. I don't see any major issues that we would need to budget for. The thing is working, and that's all I got.
Thank you.
You got it, thank you.
Alright, we're gonna go into closed session
Okay.
and the open session is herewith
I gotta leave.
adjourned.
Closed session, executive session.
Let me
I'll
turn
be
off
out
the
in
camera.
a minute.
Before you get started.